Donald John Trump. Even the name sounds like a superhero villain, doesn't it? But behind the name is a story that is as complex as it is controversial. Born in Queens, New York in 1946, Trump wasn't born into poverty like some self-made stories. Instead, he grew up in a world of privilege and opportunity. He inherited wealth from his father's real estate business, a foundation that would set the stage for his future endeavors. But the younger Trump had a knack for grabbing headlines. He was always in the spotlight, whether for his business ventures or his personal life. He quickly became a fixture in the New York City tabloids, a media darling who knew how to play the game. His early career was a mix of brash business deals and a carefully cultivated image. He was a master at creating a persona that people couldn't ignore. Always the showman, Trump understood the power of a name. He knew that branding was everything, and he made sure his name was synonymous with success. He knew how to make it synonymous with success, or at least the appearance of it. His name became a brand, a symbol of wealth and power. Trump's early career was a masterclass in self-promotion. He knew how to sell himself and his ventures, making sure he was always in the public eye. He understood the media's hunger for a good story. He gave them one, time and time again, ensuring that he remained a topic of conversation. Trump was never one to shy away from controversy. In fact, he seemed to court it, knowing that any publicity was good publicity. In fact, he seemed to court it. Controversy was just another tool in his arsenal, a way to keep the spotlight on him. Whether it was his lavish lifestyle, his outspoken personality, or his aggressive business tactics, Trump always kept himself in the public eye. He was a master at staying relevant, and the public, for better or worse, couldn't seem to look away. His life was a spectacle, and everyone was watching. Trump's father, Fred Trump, was a successful real estate developer. He focused on building middle-class housing in Brooklyn and Queens. Donald, however, had his sights set on Manhattan. He wanted to make his mark on the most iconic skyline in the world, and he did with projects like Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue. It became a symbol of 1980s excess. Trump's real estate ventures weren't always smooth sailing. He had his share of high-profile failures and bankruptcies. But through it all, he maintained an image of wealth and success. How? By never admitting defeat. Every setback was spun as a learning experience. Every bankruptcy was a strategic maneuver. Trump understood that perception was often more important than reality. In 1987, Trump published The Art of the Deal. It became a bestseller, capturing the attention of both the business world and the general public. Part memoir, part business advice, the book cemented Trump's image as a master negotiator and a shrewd businessman. He wasn't afraid to be brash, to be bold, to walk away from a deal if it wasn't going his way. This audacity became a hallmark of his public persona. He embraced the image of the ruthless businessman, someone who would stop at nothing to get what he wanted. This, he claimed, was the key to his success, a strategy that set him apart from his competitors. The Art of the Deal wasn't just a book. It was a branding strategy, a way to project his larger-than-life persona. Trump understood the power of his own name and how it could be leveraged for maximum impact. He plastered it on everything he could: buildings, casinos, airplanes, even a board game. His name became synonymous with luxury and success. He was selling more than just real estate or luxury goods. He was selling himself, his image, and his vision of success. He was selling the idea that anyone could achieve the American dream, just like he had, if they followed his principles. Of course, what he conveniently left out was the fact that he started with a considerable advantage, a substantial loan from his father. By the early 2000s, Trump's star had faded somewhat. His casinos were struggling, and his real estate empire wasn't as invincible as it once seemed. Enter The Apprentice. This reality TV show would revitalize Trump's image and introduce him to a whole new generation. On The Apprentice, Trump played the role of the ultimate CEO, deciding who would be hired or fired each week. The Apprentice was a massive hit. It brought Trump back into the public eye in a big way. The show presented a slightly softer, more humorous version of Trump. He was still the demanding boss, but now there was a twinkle in his eye. The catchphrase, "You're fired," became part of the American lexicon. The show's success reminded America that Trump was more than just a businessman, he was a celebrity. Section 5. You're Fired. Trump, the reality TV star. The Apprentice wasn't just a show, It was a carefully crafted persona, a stage where Trump played the role of a decisive and powerful leader. Trump, the businessman, became Trump, the brand. He transformed his image from a real estate mogul to a household name. He was no longer just selling buildings or casinos. He was selling himself as the embodiment of success, a symbol of the American dream. He was the guy who could make tough decisions, who could cut through the BS, and who always came out on top. His catchphrase, "You're fired," became iconic. This new, more accessible Trump resonated with a wide audience. People from all walks of life tuned in to watch him. People who had never stayed in a Trump hotel or played at a Trump casino now felt like they knew him. They saw him as a relatable figure. They saw him every week on their TV screens, and they liked what they saw. His larger-than-life personality captivated millions, or at least, they found him entertaining. His showmanship and flair for drama kept viewers coming back for more. This newfound popularity would prove to be invaluable as Trump set his sights on an even bigger prize, the White House. His reality TV fame laid the groundwork for his political ambitions. Section 6. Transitioning to politics, a brand new arena. For years, Trump flirted with the idea of running for president. He even launched a brief campaign in 2000 as a Reform Party candidate. But it was in the 2010s that Trump began to seriously position himself as a political force. He became a vocal critic of President Barack Obama, questioning his birthplace and legitimacy. This birtherism conspiracy theory, while baseless, gained traction among some segments of the population. Trump tapped into a vein of anger and resentment that was brewing in America. He channeled the frustrations of those who felt left behind by globalization and ignored by the political establishment. He promised to make America great again, a slogan that resonated with voters who felt that America had lost its way. Section 7. Making America Great Again, the 2016 campaign. Trump's 2016 presidential campaign was unlike anything America had ever seen. He eschewed political correctness and embraced a brand of populism that was both exhilarating and terrifying. His rallies were raucous affairs, fueled by anger, fear, and a healthy dose of showmanship. He tapped into a deep well of resentment among white, working-class voters who felt left behind by the economic and cultural changes of the 21st century. Trump's message was simple. He was the outsider, the businessman who could fix Washington's problems. He promised to bring back jobs, build a wall on the Mexican border, and drain the swamp of corruption. His message resonated with millions of Americans who were tired of the status quo. His victory over Hillary Clinton, the ultimate political insider, shocked the world. Section 8. President Trump, branding the Oval Office. Trump's presidency was a whirlwind of controversy, chaos, and constant Twitter battles. He governed much like he campaigned, impulsively, aggressively, and with a disregard for traditional norms. His supporters loved his willingness to shake things up. His detractors saw him as a threat to democracy. Trump's presidency was a masterclass in branding, albeit a highly unconventional one. He understood the power of social media and used it to bypass traditional media outlets and communicate directly with his base. He turned the presidency into a reality show, complete with dramatic pronouncements, shocking firings, and constant feuds. Section 9. Beyond the White House, Trump's post-presidency. Despite losing the 2020 election to Joe Biden, Trump remained a powerful force in American politics. He refused to concede the election, making baseless claims of widespread voter fraud. He continued to hold rallies and fundraise, maintaining his grip on the Republican Party. Trump's post-presidency has been marked by legal challenges, business ventures, and ongoing attempts to influence the Republican Party. He has teased another presidential run in 2024, keeping his supporters energized and his opponents on edge. Section 10. The Trump Legacy, a brand that divides. Donald Trump's legacy is complex and deeply polarizing. To his supporters, he is a hero, a disruptor who challenged the status quo and gave voice to the forgotten man. To his detractors, he is a demagogue, a threat to democracy who stoked division and undermined American institutions. Love him or hate him, there's no denying that Trump has left an indelible mark on American politics and culture. He has reshaped the Republican Party in his image and exposed deep divisions in American society. Section 11. Conclusion. The enduring impact of the Trump brand. The Trump brand is, above all, about one thing: Donald J. Trump. It's about his ego, his ambition, and his uncanny ability to capture the spotlight. It's a brand built on exaggeration, self-promotion, and a healthy dose of controversy. It's a brand that has been both wildly successful and deeply divisive. It's a brand that will continue to be debated, analyzed, and argued about for years to come. One thing is for sure: the Trump brand, much like the man himself, is impossible to ignore.